Today we're here with Jay Davis from James W. Davis and Associates here in Macon. Jay, thanks for being here.
Sean's good to be here always.
Awesome, awesome. So we're talking about wills today, Jay. Obviously, you don't ever want to focus on the last part of life there, but it does happen.
It's one of those things, throw it on your New Year's resolution list. Let's get it out of the way.
Exactly. No. So wills, important. You have to go with your lawyer. You have to make sure you have one. That's going to make it a lot easier for your family.
That's true. Typically, if you don't have a will, I mean, it's not like the state gets everything. I have a lot of people who come to me and say, hey, you know, somebody's about to die and they're losing everything, the state's going to get it. That's not the way it happens, but there are certain rules that apply that you lose control of if you don't have a will. But typically, your spouse will get a portion and your children will get a portion. If you're not married, obviously, it would then go all to the children. If you don't have children, spouse. If you don't have any of those, then there's a lineage on what happens otherwise. But it's always a good thing to set up what you want to happen to specific things rather than it be divided or split. If you want somebody to have one thing that you particularly want for them, you need to get that written down, get it set, and you need to make it all where it's easiest on the person who you want to have in charge of it. Make sure you got that right person.
I imagine, because you could probably get bogged down in all the legal language. I think if you want to go and see your lawyer, you want to make sure, hey, I want this easy to read, easy to understand. You know, I want to let people know that are in the will, hey, this is my plan for things. That's big communication.
That's right. You know, a lot of times attorneys, they get paid to make contracts a little bit complicated and do those things. You want to get it in the most simple terms, like you say. You want to make sure if you've got one person that you're worried about them having an emotional problem with being able to execute something or being able to do it, that you give it to somebody that you feel confident can do those things and somebody that you can trust particularly.
So how do you get the process started? I guess you go see a lawyer like yourself and say, hey, I need help writing my will. Is there anything that you need to bring to your lawyer when you do that? Just information, right?
Just information. If you've got life insurance policies, for example, they don't pass under the will, so you might want to look at how those things are going to be distributed, because your will is not going to be able to control those things. If you've got a power of attorney, somebody to act, that only is good while somebody's alive. So be conscious that there's going to be a gap between when that power of attorney is no longer good because the person's passed on and when the will is not yet probated. So there's that gap where people need to do funeral expenses, need to do last expenses, medical expenses. There's a time frame where they may need some money, and how you handle that needs to be considered during that process when you're
ultimately, this is hopefully an easy process. I mean, I'm sure it's complicated for some people, but the lawyers are designed to do this. They know how to do this.
Yeah.
Right?
Georgia wills basically require a few things. They require a certain witness, a certain notary if you're going to have it, a certain couple of witnesses actually, but then a notary if you're going to have it self-proving, where you don't have to call these witnesses into court and that type of thing. So you do the legal complications, leave that to the attorney, get the thing set for where you want things to go and how you want to do it, so that all the people around know what your wishes or your intent was.
Makes a lot of sense. Well, Jay, thank you so much. Don't want to always talk about such a sort of a sad thing.
It's not the thing you want to think about. When I used to travel a lot with air traffic control before I started law,
yeah.
Every time I got on an airplane, I thought I should have done a will before I left.
So yeah, it's true. You want to definitely be prepared. So thank you so much for